Hi, everybody. It's Sarah with She Tries, and I'm here with Coach Ann Moore of Ann Moore Endurance Coaching. When you sign up for a She Tries event, you get a free training plan sent to your email. And Ann is who designed this training plan, and she's worked with a number of our athletes over the years who wanted to go beyond that training plan and train for other events or just have a more designed plan for them and their schedule. So I wanted to talk with Ann a little bit today about training in general, working with a coach, and just some of the things she loves about our community with She Tries. So without much more to say, I'm going to introduce you to Coach Ann. Hey,
Hello.
how's it going?
It's going great. It's good to see you as always.
Good to see you too. Tell us a little bit about your athletic background.
Well, I've basically been an athlete my entire life. I was a competitive swimmer from the age of 6 all the way through college. Additionally, I come from a family that have owned gyms. So my uncle in the 80s was probably one of the very first one-on-one personal trainers,
Oh, wow.
at least in the Southeast. He had a little studio where he did one-on-one training. So I've kind of been exposed to the entire aspect of everything since I was a little girl. And then I went to college and got my bachelor's in biology, and then went on to MUSC, got my master's degree in physiology. Kind of just fell into doing some personal training when I had little kids, and then started triathlon. So I was always, as a swimmer, I always ran as cross training. Didn't have a bike until 2007. But I used to take spin classes, and then I would go run on the treadmill right afterwards. And I'd be like, gosh, I always feel really good running when I've gotten off the bike. And somebody came up to me and was like, oh, I've been seeing you doing this. Are you a triathlete? And I was just like, no, but maybe I should be. And it kind of just fell into place like that. And, after that, I kind of took my expertise on training people and my degree, and then I just kind of morphed into a coach, and I've been doing it for 15 years now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of athletes do you work with? Are they all people who have been competitor swimmers since they were 6?
Oh gosh, no. I have trained, I mean, I get a lot of people who have never done a triathlon before. I've had people who've never done a 5K before. I One time, this is kind of off, I taught an 80-year-old woman how to swim. She had wanted to swim her entire life. And so and then I've worked with people who are, national champion cyclists, Kona world champion qualifiers, Boston qualifiers. So I've worked the whole gamut, and there's great parts to all of it, but I really love working with new athletes because just the enthusiasm and the excitement and the gains that you get at the beginning are so much more. Well, I mean, it's all exciting, but you know what I'm saying, just to see
Very
people
gratifying.
do things that they never thought they could do. Even when we start on a beach cruiser bike and we transition to buying your first road bike and all of those sorts of things, I've been there with people that entire step of the way.
Yeah, it's really cool. Um, you also work with athletes who are not even runners or triathletes, right? Like
Oh yeah.
you have
Yep.
a Paddleboard.
I've had a competitive endurance paddleboarder. I have had a competitive cross country skier.
Wow.
And I live in the South. I've never even skied, but I can take my just knowledge of what muscles you use for certain things, and just the generalized endurance building type of workouts, and just been able to apply it to all kinds of people. So it's really
Yeah.
been, I mean, heck, I've had people hire me before because they said, I just want to learn how to do one pull-up.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
mean, really, and
Yeah.
truly, so it I welcome everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so going back to these beginner athletes, what I think a lot of women can be intimidated and feel like, well, I'm a beginner. I don't need a coach. I just need to get out the door and go do the thing.
Sure.
But what is the advantage for a beginner of working with a coach?
Well, I think training wise, especially in multi-sport, when you've got, okay, I've got to swim a certain number of days, I got to bike a certain number of days, I have to run a certain number of days, and it can get a little overwhelming, especially when you just feel like you have to do so much just to get yourself into shape. And I think a coach can help you navigate, okay, how much time do you really have to devote to this? And, particularly because a lot of these women who are getting into it for the first time have families, have jobs, and there's just not enough time to do everything. So when I start working with somebody, the first thing I say to them is, okay, let's be realistic. How much time do you really have to devote to this? And let's really focus on quality over quantity. And honestly, that goes across the board with everyone, because multi-sport is probably one of the easiest sports to overtrain in, because you just feel like you have to get so much in, and there's just not enough time in the day.
Yeah, I agree. And going along with that, let's say either they get a plan from you or they're working with the plan that you sent them, or maybe they're watching this and haven't registered yet, so they haven't any plan.
Right.
What is good about, or what is the function of a good training plan? Like, how do you see that working for them?
So a good training plan will typically, kind of like I said a minute ago, really focus on quality workouts versus, what I like to call junk miles, for lack of a better.
Mhm.
It's not just about, okay, I just need to go out and just put all these miles in. It's really about focusing on, different heart rate, your endurance levels, your speed, which is, kind of going into interval training and that sort of thing. But really just focusing on specificity and time management. And with the plan, I will not have you, particularly too, if you're a beginner, you don't want to be running 3 days in a row. You need to give your body some rest. So that sort of thing, where it really structures, okay, this is what you're going to do on this day, et cetera, et cetera. So it gives you the time to recover in between your workouts, so that they're all more efficient and you're not going into them fatigued.
Yeah. I also found, oh, disclaimer, I've worked with Anne for years myself. So I'm the benefit of her efficient getting in what you can when you can workout building.
Yes, yes.
But also making, or not making, encouraging the athlete to do the weak sport that maybe they're, you know, for me, it's swimming. So if I sign up for a triathlon, I'm happy to go bike and run every single day. But if I have a
Mhm.
training plan from Anne that says, yeah, you got to practice some swimming if you want to actually
Right,
do the triathlon, then I'm going to do it because it's on the plan.
right.
If I was putting it together myself, I'd probably keep putting it off. So I think that's another good component with that. Well, there's coaches everywhere, and there's training plans all over the internet. What do you see are some common mistakes that athletes run into, whether they're with someone who's maybe not the greatest of coaches, or if they're trying to coach themselves? What are some of the mistakes that you see?
I mean, the biggest mistake is overtraining, and just putting in, way too much time doing things that just aren't necessarily necessary. Well, there's two parts to that. I've had people approach me before and say, well, I got this plan off the internet, and but I really think I need a little bit more specificity with you. And so I'll start to put something together, and then they'll look at what they bought off the internet or downloaded or whatever. And then they'll look at what I'm doing, and they'll be like, oh, well, you're not having me do as much, and I'm a little nervous about this. And I'm like, you got to trust the plan, trust the coach, and be honest with the coach. If you're starting to feel a little tweak here or there, then that's something that your coach needs to know and be able to adapt and work around it. If you're starting to train for a triathlon and you're really not a runner, you don't want to be going from week 1 to week 2 adding 30% mileage, or trying to go out and run you know 20 miles a week or whatever, I'm just throwing a number out there, when you're starting at 0 miles, that's just recipe for disaster. So I think a good coach will listen to you, understand your time constraints, understand your abilities, and work around them. And unfortunately, a lot of times when you buy plans off the internet, it's kind of a one size fits all plan. And even if they say beginner, intermediate, etc., sometimes it's just too much. And so that's really where I like to, I don't want to say pat myself on the back, but I feel like I'm pretty good at, over the last 15 years, I've learned how to recognize, who's capable of how much volume of training. I mean, can I use you as an example?
Sure.
You and Josh. So for those of you who don't know, I actually coach Sarah and her husband, and y'all don't do the same things because you both, recover differently. You train differently. So I really have to think about you two as separate entities, even though y'all do a lot of your training together,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree
No,
with that?
exactly.
Yeah.
And we have to let you know what's going on in our lives from month to month, because
Oh, for sure. And
sometimes I've got a lot more time than others. So
and sometimes too, it's not just, it's work commitments, kid commitments. Your body does not recognize the difference between physical exercise stress and emotional stress. So I can see in your workouts when something's going on, and people laugh all the time because I'll text them and be like, hey, what's going on with you right now? And and they'll be like, how did you know? My child is this, or my job is this. And I'm like, I can see it in your workout. So that's kind of one of the things that
yeah,
I'm able to, sorry, I'm sitting here petting
yeah.
my dog to prevent her from barking, and I keep feeding her treats. So that's why I'm so fidgety over here.
That's okay. Well, we've been working with you. You've been a huge supporter of She Tries since Angie launched the business in the beginning. You've coached athletes, you've volunteered, you've sponsored, and just been a part of our community. We're so grateful. What connects you to us other than the fabulous people running it?
Oh, for sure.
What do you like about our events and what it does for the triathlon community?
Oh, I mean, it's such a springboard to these women, and just empowering them and being able to do things that they just never thought they were capable of doing. I mean, most people think I'm kind of, a very stoic, hard person, but I tear up at every She Tries when those women start coming across the line. I mean, and they are just so happy that they did something that they never thought they would be able to do. Honestly, that is just my favorite part: the enthusiasm, the camaraderie, just the support that they give each other. I mean, I just love it. I've marshaled the bike course before, and everyone that rides by just has this huge smile on their face. And I can guarantee you, when you start looking at some more advanced races, that is not the case at all.
Yeah, that's true. We do like to separate ourselves as
Mhm.
a good, positive environment, happy environment for our athletes.
And a lot of times, people will, they repeat, they go back to your events every year because they want to start seeing improvement. After the first year, they're like, okay, I tackled it. Now I want to improve. And so, when you go to the same event, year after year, that is where you can really see improvement. So if you're watching this and you've done She Tries before, but you haven't registered for this year yet, I highly recommend you do it, because you can't compare one course to another so much, right? So if you like, I'm going to do another sprint triathlon, and then maybe your results aren't as good, that doesn't necessarily mean that you haven't improved. It's just you're comparing apples to oranges. So that's why I love and encourage people when they reach out to me and say, I started last year with She Tries, and I'm like, well, by all means, you're going to do it again this year. If this is your first event of the season, the end of May is a great time, and so yeah, that's so I just, I will be with you guys until we all retire
Yeah,
way in the future.
way yonder in the future. Awesome.
Yes.
Well, we love
Lots of
having
years
you
left.
there. And so when you're not coaching our athletes, or even throughout the year when you are, and when you're not volunteering at She Tries, I know you have other things that you have going on in the community. Do you want to tell us about those things?
Well, for one, and it's something that we haven't talked about yet, is another component that I really like with training is strength training.
Mhm.
And I think that is another thing that's difficult for people to feel like they can incorporate into the plan because they just don't have time. And, core strength and flexibility and, body weight strength. It doesn't have to necessarily be, going to the gym and, lifting heavy weights, although there is obviously benefit to that. But I teach a class on Tuesday nights at the Trek store in Mount Pleasant, 6:15 on Tuesdays, and those are the sorts of things that we work on: core strength, upper body, lower body, stretching, all of the things. And really, I mean, anyone is welcome to it, but we really do focus on a lot of things that you need for the three sports of multi-sport.
Awesome. I see the reviews from people going to those, and the videos and the pictures, and I think I get in like pseudo ab workout just watching, imagining the
Well,
workout going on.
you think about it, well, you may not think about it, but riding your bike, your posture when you're running, all of these things do make a difference, and your body fatigues. It's not just your leg muscles and your cardiorespiratory system that get tired. You'll notice, like, when you buy your first triathlon bike, being in that position, your triceps, all these different things start to wear out. So really focusing on all of that is super important. So I encourage everyone to come. I mean, it's actually kind of a hoot. We have a bunch of men in there that are terribly inflexible, and they will let you know during class. They're over there hemming and hawing and whining and wailing. And so it's a really good time. And I would encourage people to come out and give it a go.
Well, and if you can't make it on Tuesday nights, during the pandemic, Anne put together a whole bunch of videos that I still think are linked to your coaching page on
Yes.
Facebook. And
Yes.
they're all like 20 minutes of abs and body weighted strength. So you should give those a shot. And her sweet, wonderful, precious dog, Layla, makes lots of appearances and does the workout with you. So that's really,
Yes, she
I highly
does.
recommend
Yeah,
that.
there's a big, I mean, we were doing them every day there for a while. You remember that during the beginning of
Oh,
so
great.
yeah, there's hundreds probably out there to choose from.
Well, how can someone get in touch with you if they are interested in learning more about your coaching or your training plans, or just, want to understand your world?
Well, I'm on all the socials. The first thing that you could do is you could email me. My email address is Anne, that's ANNE, at AnnMooreCoaching.com. I am on Facebook, Ann Moore Endurance Coaching. I am on Instagram, same handle. And I discuss, you can see all the different athletes that I coach and all the events that they have participated in, and then things that I've got going on, like the strength class, et cetera, and sometimes just some tips and tricks. So yeah, those are the ways that you can reach out to me, and I would love for you to do so.
Awesome. Well, we'll also include those in the notes, assuming I get said notes written, and
Yeah.
then we'll get this posted up there so everyone can reach out to you. Anything else you want our ladies to know about?
I think just to give a little mantra of just to believe in yourself, and so and Maisie says the same thing. Believe in yourself and know that anything is possible. You just have to have the roadmap to follow, and that's where the plan that you can download off the internet, or not at the internet, but the link to the email that I've written, or reaching out to me, and I can help customize it to better suit your needs. So I
Awesome.
look forward to seeing some new faces here and there, and being at She Tries at the end of May.
Awesome. Thank you. And
Yeah, thank you.
looking forward to seeing you soon. Thanks,
Okay,
everybody.
thank you.